Welcome to Hops News, the trusted source in beer culture news. Here's your host, Jay Brew.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Hops News. We're here. That's getting two or three of us together in the same room is been a task here recently, but good to be here. We've got a great guest lined up. I will tell you, he does some phenomenal beer. I've drank a few of his already this week and have enjoyed every single one of them. So looking forward to talking to Brett from Silver Branch Brewing, just up the road in Maryland. I'm interested to find out where he's at. I've checked out his taproom menu, and I'm going to place an order before we get too deep into this episode so I can get some of that grub that they're serving up there for sure. Looking forward to it. Weather's starting to warm up here in Virginia Beach. Been a little bit mid 60s, low 70s some days. Kind of rainy today, but I'm looking forward to summer. And I don't usually say that, but relocating to the beach has me in the mood for summer sometime soon. So looking forward to that. I'll be honest with you. I've drank my way through most of these. Brett sent us a very good selection of beer, and I started out last night, if you go and check the post there on Insta, with a shower beer from Silver Branch. This one's their Pilsner, and I saved the Pilsner because, as you probably know by now, Pilsners and lagers that's my jam for sure, and it is a great beer. Great color. It's very bright. I will tell you, when I first poured it, I noticed the color of the beer is spectacular. And I know my camera probably doesn't do it justice, but great looking beer, great tasting beer, very refreshing. Kind of falls in line with a lot of their stuff. Have been solid performers, true to style beer. Looking forward to talking to Brett and learn a little bit more about what they do at the Silver Branch. But before we go chat with him, we've got a crew on tonight. Let's go check in with Matt. Matt out in Mountain Home, Idaho. Matt, how's it going out in Idaho this evening? Hey, up, for man? One, I'm surprised you're not flying over Europe somewhere, getting ready to drop some justice on some Putins.
You know, fun thing is they actually told us today to update all of our stuff. And I will be getting to sit on some briefings that I'm not able to actually talk about out loud, but I'm gonna get some back inside information, which will be pretty exciting, pretty intriguing as to what's going on. But for the meantime, we're just told to be ready. And I'm drinking Full Metal Jacket because what better
never
name
know.
for a beer considering the fact that if you've all watched the movie, well, you kind of know what it is about. So yeah, it's a wicked good, man. It's perfectly dark. It's a 9.2%. It's a oak aged strong ale with vanilla. It's been aged 2 years in barrels, and man, it's wonderfully complex with oak, cedar, vanilla, lingering sherry notes, and it's been like 18 degrees here the last couple days and kind of snowing. So this beer is actually perfect. It's kind of like a nice sit by the fire with it cold outside, and man, it's delicious. I just took a sip for the first time. Unlike you heathens, I saved the beer because I don't want to blow through it because I was really excited for this. Lauren was telling me how good it was. Jay, you were telling me how good it was. I was like, man, I'm trying to save myself right now. I got a PT test next week too, so I didn't want to blow through the beers. Maybe have a celebration beer after. And yeah, it's delicious. This brewery is one that I wish I had hit up when I went TDY to the DC area and stuff a couple years ago, and I wish I knew about them then because this has climbed up to one of the got to get to the tap rooms, got to enjoy it in that setting, and yeah, I'm wicked excited. Thanks to Erin, she actually we got connected through a friend of mine, Brandon, who I've known for 10 years. We were basic training everything together. He connected us with the guest tonight, and Erin hooked it up with the goods, and she hooked it up. That's all I gotta say. So thank you guys for sending some goods.
It's always fun when you're in the military and shit starts to pop off. The first things they have you do is go to JAG and update the will, and then your next stop is to dental to update the dental x-rays. You're like, man, this is...
Yeah. Oh, my God.
You guys have this down to a fucking science.
Well, we also tell power of attorneys. So it's like will and power of attorneys, like the two you do first.
And then dental.
And then you go get the rest, and then you get all your shots and things that you need to get before you go over there. You go down the line and get all the shots and things like that. So, yeah, it's interesting times to say the least. We'll see what happens, and let's not worry about that tonight. Let's have a pretty solid episode. Drink some beer. Talk to we're really just looking through the story. Seems like they have a really great, interesting story to tell us tonight about how they got started. So
yeah.
Let's party. Let's forget about all the craziness.
Definitely looking forward to that. And, man, I'm not lying to you. Have you guys checked out their taproom menu?
I have, honestly. And that's what made me think, like, man, I need an excuse to go back to that area because the taproom menu alone was just like, I got to get there ASAP. It looks phenomenal. They're very, we'll talk and figure it out in a minute, but they're very German influenced, it seems like, and European influenced. And I'm salivating thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the few beer guys that really the first thing I do is go check out the food menu before I decide if I'm going to go.
Well, yeah, you got to eat as you're drinking these beers, especially if you're drinking the 9.2%. You got to have a good, some water, and you got to have a meal,
I'm like the stereotypical fat bastard. Let's see what the food menu looks like first.
Need some vitamins too.
The food is how I also get the wife to these places. It's but see, they have food. We can eat dinner there. Take the kids. It's an excuse to swing through and have dinner. And dad gets to drink a few beers, and mom gets to drive home.
Yep.
Wait.
Yeah,
no.
it's
reverse that.
Reverse. Not for Hoppy, that's for sure. Yeah, Matt, good luck, man. Obviously, the shit that's popping off, best of luck to you and all of those out there that still fighting that fight for sure. Good to have you join us. Good to see you. Appreciate you hooking up this brewery. Always fun to chat with guests, and it's been a minute since we've had a guest on. So
it has been. It's been a little bit, so I'm excited.
Yeah, need to get back into the routine of chatting with brewers for sure. Let's go check in with Lauren out there in Orlando, Florida. Lauren, you're in a bathing suit tonight.
No, it's just a tank top.
Oh.
Yeah, I decided to go full out since it's our first guest in a while.
Yeah.
No, I just finished up the Saison, so I just poured the oak aged strong ale with vanilla, and I got it in my goblet since it is a dark strong ale. And it was 86 here today, and this is a great beer to drink by the pool outside in the sun.
Yeah, I bet you it is a good beer.
Hey, there was some sun today here.
If you want to be crawling, it'd be a great beer to drink outside in the sun.
You could drink this on the beach. It would be perfect. This beer is fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
As soon as I cracked it open, though, it's like you could smell the ABV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I love that.
86 degrees in Orlando. Holy shit. Are you guys running the AC wide open right now?
We all pretty much always have the AC on.
God.
There's a couple times we had to use the heater this year in like January, and like all of a sudden it got hot again, and like myself and I know 3 other people whose air conditionings broke that week. And so it's like they all got like over flooded with all the heater or whatever, and but it wasn't even bad because it was still chilly outside, so we had no air conditioning for a night.
It
and we
was
survived
65.
With
We had to turn the heat on to 75. How do we survive? Help me!
It was a rough winter this year.
It sounds
I had to put
like
a sweatshirt on.
I don't like sweatshirts. I don't like clothes. That's why I podcast in a bathing suit, apparently.
How's Mickey Mouse Land down there? They full wide open now, back to sold out status, like hard to find a room, or what's the?
Yeah, it's not hard to find a room. So they're still doing reservations, and so like I can only get 3 reservations at a time. So you basically have to plan ahead, and you can cancel it and change it. And I don't know why they still have reservations, because it seems like the parks are plenty full now. My only guess is the only thing they have not brought back are meet and greets. So you can't wait in line to go see Mickey, and you can't hug Mickey or anything like that. You can see the characters, but they'll be on like a balcony or something, just waving at us. But yeah, they're back at full capacity. They had mandatory masks inside again, and then they just took that away a few days ago. However, Universal is still mandatory masks inside. But they've been fully open since June 2020. They fully opened, and just Universal doesn't care. They're just like whatever.
So are the capacities, are they lower? Is there less people in the parks? Is it noticeable? Because I ask this because just about daily in our chat, right? We sharing news of another brewery that's closing down or closing tap rooms. Obviously, the pandemic's affected everybody. So what is what is the volume of people that are running through Mickey Mouse World compared to what it was before the pandemic?
It seems the same as it was before the pandemic. But my only thinking with them still requiring the reservations is that there's less people in lines to see characters. That's the only thing that seems. But I mean, like you go to Hollywood Studios right now, Rise of the Resistance is still going to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. So when COVID first hit and they first opened up, it was lovely. The parks were empty, but they seem back to capacity. And this week, a lot of Northerners are here because it's like they get like the whole week off for President's Day, and it's a run weekend, and so they're slammed right now. They were I think they actually hit capacity at Hollywood Studios.
Gosh dang those Northerners! Stay over in the path. Stay above the Mason-Dixon, you Yanks.
Well, I thought you were going to ask because you were planning a trip, and I was going to tell you I can tell you when to come and when not to come.
Yeah, for sure.
But they opened their Star Wars sneak peek for their Star Wars hotel this weekend. So if you have a spare $5,000 laying around for one
Disney
night,
media passes, Daddy Disney media.
But I'm super excited to talk to this guest because when Matt sent us the link with his bio, I was like, oh, he went to Europe and fell in love with beer in Europe. I wonder how much that has influenced his brewery. And then I went on the website and I was like, holy crap, this will be pretty cool. So I'm excited to talk to our guest for sure.
All right, without further ado, let's go talk to Brett.
Let's get it.
Brett, thanks for joining us, man. Hey, and before we get too far along, I'm going to take an order of the tostadas and the chorizo potato tacos, the quesadillas, and let's go ahead with the order of the pork nachos.
All right. Do you want me to put Chef Michelle on tonight instead, so she can talk you through like all that?
Hey, maybe next time, Brett. I'm at a point in my life where beer is always good, right? If the food is good, so. Yeah, definitely an impressive menu. Obviously, I've drank my way through just about the better half of a 6-pack that you sent us. Great product from the first beer, the strong ale, all the way down to the Pilsner that I'm enjoying tonight. So can't say a bad word about the liquid that you guys are putting in cans. That's for sure. The one unknown is the food, though. So if we can figure that out, within the next 45 minutes or so, that'd be fantastic.
I think you guys are going to have to make the trek. I heard you talking earlier about coming through, and in the grand scheme of things, Silver Branch is still relatively young. We're just about to turn 3. So if anybody can make it into the DC area anytime soon, then open invitation. We'd love to have any one of you guys come hang with us.
That would be on the tops of the list in a DC visit, just based off of the food menu there, Brett. So tell us, we like to start things out with guests as, like, what's your beer journey, right? Like, because all of us have our first beer memory. Most of us was the Pabst, the red, white, and blue, or the Millers, or the Bud Light, or whatever that may be. Kind of what's your first beer that you recall having as a whatever age? You don't have to disclose the age, but most of us were fairly young.
I would say I was well under the legal limit, and it definitely started with fizzy yellow light beer. Specifically, in my case, it was Miller Lite. And I still had a few years to go before I was technically of age. And it was like that for a while. I mean, honestly, I didn't stumble into craft beer until I was into college. And my big thing was when you're in college and you're coming home for winter break, you're sort of stuck hanging out with your family for weeks on end. And much as I love my family, a buddy of mine and I were kind of like,
Uh-oh.
He seems, I think his internet's just going in and out.
So
He'll be back. There he is.
We took like a little, basically we just took a snowboarding trip north and stumbled into a brew pub in Vermont. And it wasn't until then that I was like, wait, you mean beer can have flavor? And and I think I was always kind of
brew pub?
It was actually right in Burlington at the T intersection. It was the Vermont Pub and Brewery.
Nice.
Oh, I've been there.
Been there.
I know that place
yeah.
very well. Very well.
It's a classic.
It's definitely a place that's got it's enshrined in history. And so, I didn't know any better. Like literally, we just arrived in Vermont after like an 8-hour drive, and it was like, I guess we'll go here. And I ordered a beer, and I was kind of like, had that moment, when the camera sort of like. I was like,
is this
what?
legal?
This can have flavor? I was like, is this, are you sure this is beer? And then from there, I was fortunate enough.
He's just building anticipation.
Sorry about that. I was fortunate enough to spend some time in Europe. And as you guys probably mentioned earlier, that has played a pretty significant role in both myself and my business partner, our international travel, and forming, what became a lot of the underpinnings for Silver Branch. So, I fell in love with beer in Vermont just sort of on a whim, and then I spent some time in Germany, and to a lesser extent, some time in France, and then later I got to spend time in Scotland, and all of those experiences really informed what beer and beer culture can be internationally. And that really is what kind of made me fall in love with it. In Frankfurt at the stock exchange, guys have beer at lunch. I was like, why isn't America like this?
Yeah, wait a second.
It is. It's just frowned upon.
Yeah. Have you hung out in any construction sites lately? Because I can tell you right now, they enjoy some beer at lunch.
Oh, when I was practicing law full time, we enjoyed beer at lunch.
Yeah. So, Brett, your step into craft beer, or the biggest step into craft beer, was in Vermont. Spent some time in Europe. What was the trigger to go to Europe? What brought you from your first domestic light beer to that trip to Vermont to saying, man, I want to go to Europe to learn more about beer?
I went to Europe for totally different reasons, but I had just only recently formed that interest in beer. It was for learning about like international business. And then, after spending time there, I was like, I think I just became totally like obsessed. I don't know. I think I just like, it's sort of like when you get hit with the bug. And for me, right when it happened, I was just like, I need to learn everything that I possibly can. And
I love that though. When you truly are passionate about something, that's how you feel.
Oh yeah.
I've got to step away and get another beer, Brett, but you can continue to chat with us through your journey to Europe. You learn a little bit more about beer. You come back to the States. How do you get from traveling Europe on a international business trip, being exposed a little bit more to the European style of beer and how they do it, to now you've got your own brewery? Fill in that gap for us.
So I studied a combination of business and computer science, and graduated and did algorithmic equities and options trading after college. And I, like most people that enter beer, didn't find that to be fulfilling in terms of what I wanted to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was pissed because I'm the oldest of 5, and I moved back into his basement.
This is a good origin story.
So after moving to my dad's basement, he was like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" But at that time, this was like 2011, I want to say. And I told him then, I was like, I'm going to open a brewery someday. And it wasn't until about 2019 that my business partner and I finally pulled it off. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, I think.
What were you guys doing? So in between the 2011, when you said you're going to open your brewery one day in 2019, were you guys like home brewing stuff to kind of fine tune everything? Or what was going on in between those years?
Yeah, so it's fascinating. I decided there were 2 paths. I could either sort of work in finance and save up enough money to potentially open a brewery someday, or I could launch myself into the business and learn as much as I possibly could from other people to
Dun, dun. I feel like it's just anticipation. Yes.
A friend gave me, and so I started working in a brew pub. Actually, they wouldn't even hire me in the brewery section or as a bartender. They had me hauling boxes for the catering department. And so that experience was really informative, and I just kept staying in the industry, and I focused more on like the restaurant side, so that I could learn about like managing employees and managing hospitality and managing the mechanics of sort of like running kind of more like the taproom operation. So yeah, I figured the best way to learn was from within, as opposed to coming in and trying to open a brewery without experience. I got a chance to work. My business partner worked he did a stint in Belgium, and he grew up in Germany. And so we kind of like, that's.
I want to do a stint in Belgium.
I know, right?
That kind of European influence. Am I cutting out a lot?
You're fine. It's only for a second, and you come right back.
Yeah, it goes away for a second, then it comes back. Cool. It's all good.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
So that's kind of like, that's sort of our story. I mean, I took the path where I was like, I'm going to go learn what to do and what not to do from everybody else on their dime, and then try to avoid as many mistakes as possible on my own dime, right?
Well, I mean, having a background in finance, that had to have been somewhat helpful, because I feel like a lot of people that love beer and are passionate about it, they want to open a brewery and they know nothing business-wise. So was that beneficial through the process of opening your brewery?
Yes and no. It's funny because it's having the most benefit now, because the brewery, and you guys were mentioning earlier in the conversation, like, unfortunately, I
feel like we need a sound
that I'm very close with in the hospitality industry, and unfortunately just breweries and restaurants have had a hard time, but that's actually the opposite of Silver Branch. We've had a great couple years, because the pandemic sort of first forced us to learn how to be like a wholesale brewery, with distribution and production. And so, um, the finance background is actually coming into focus now, in a way that it wasn't. But day-to-day management, actually, the restaurant experience was the most valuable, because restaurants live and die by cash, and like finance is like high-level theory, loans, interest, management. Whereas like, you start the day with a certain amount of dollars and you end the day with more or less dollars. And like the restaurant industry forces you to think about day by day, like hour by hour.
Wow. Very micro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were pretty cash strapped, and we were trying to like figure out how to survive. I think actually the restaurant experience was more valuable now that we're expanding and growing, and we're going to be, and I can't speak too much to it, but we're going to be potentially a multi-location type entity in the not too distant future. Then that's where the finance background is sort of coming back into focus only so many years later.
Nice.
Did you guys always plan to have food then, like incorporate into it from your kind of restaurant background, or is that like, hey, we kind of need to change some things up considering there's like this looming thing, because you've been open almost as long as we've been doing this pandemic business?
Yeah, we it's fascinating. We started, and we were really adamant about, despite my experience in the restaurant industry, my business partner and I agreed that.
What did they agree to?
Let's go check in with Hoppy. What is Hoppy drinking down there in Orlando? Did you switch out to a different one yet, Hoppy?
Do you think? No, I'm drinking this 9.2 one. Do you think I downed that already? I had, if you saw this, I had my Tervis of water. Looks like a beer. That might have been.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Is that
like just a Tervis that looks like a pint?
Yes. And I've been approached, more than one person has thought it was a real beer. I actually bought this at Epcot, so this is a Disney purchase.
Nice. How about Matt? Is Matt drinking anything different on that end?
I'm still drinking the same thing. I'm sure.
We're not chugging this strong ale. We are enjoying it slowly, as we should.
You're over here chugging away. No, I'm chugging, and I'm captivated more so by Brett's story, because it's very different so far than what we've kind of heard from a lot of different brewery owners. Usually they're just like, I drank, this, that, and then I just, started brewing beer in my garage. But no, I mean, so far he's like, I got into beer and realized you can do beer. And next thing you know, he's traveling through Europe, learning the craft, working in it. Like, he's very, very smart about it. And this has been a really different style of how they come in. You guys are open, or you're celebrating 3 years next week, correct?
That's right. Yep, 3 years. So we had 1 year of business before the pandemic hit.
Wow.
Man, I can't even imagine. So did you guys have to like change anything on the fly, or was it pretty much you already had your business model set and this is like, we can survive this thing? Or was it more of we need to adjust some things?
Nothing is the same. Everything has changed. The fundamentals of like who we are, why we do it, is very much intact, but everything went to shit, and we changed a bunch of stuff to survive the pandemic, and it forced us to grow up, and it forced us to.
What did it force him to do?
What did it force you to do?
Solid. We've taken a business approach to the brewery, but it forced us to really good at like wholesale and distribution. We set up an online business that you would be absolutely stunned at how much home delivery beer we're still doing.
I was going to say that next.
That's nice.
I mean, how wide is your distribution?
It's pretty sizable, all things considered, but more importantly, it's down to the hour. So the same way that you would order a pizza, you can order a beer or a 6-pack from Silver Branch in our local zip code. And what was fascinating was, a lot of breweries pivoted to home delivery during the pandemic, but then once things started to come back online, they all left. And I remember telling my team internally, I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to wait like a month and a half and things are going to be really slow. And then people are going to realize that they've formed the habit of ordering beer straight to their house.
Those people are called parents.
Yes.
This has been huge for us.
So, do you guys see a lot of breweries in that DC area kind of like stopping now that things are getting back to normal? Are they stopping that wholesale kind of home delivery while you guys are like, nope, we're going to carry on with this?
Yeah. A lot of people backed out, and we kind of were like, hey, this is a great line of business for us. And, I'm also drinking the Pilsner right now. I have literally hand delivered the cases myself. There's a dude that gets a case ordered to his house without fail every single week, like clockwork. And
That's awesome.
it's really interesting to see that kind of observe that consistent beer drinker behavior, especially with the home delivery business.
No doubt.
Well,
Do you feel like it's go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one thing. Like, I feel like as a parent, it's like once things started opening up, it was like I still didn't want to bring my kids out and about to go pick up beer. And that sounds so silly and so bad parenting. But when I learned that Total Wine could deliver beer, my mind was blown. But unfortunately, when the breweries were doing it, I was just a smidge out of the radius of like everybody. And like, I mean, if I could have, I would buy more
Try
beer.
living 45 minutes away from all the breweries. Yeah. I mean,
you definitely have it worse. You always win because you're in Idaho.
Do you feel like not by choice? Do you feel like it's brought you kind of closer to your customer base then, doing these home deliveries, or is it kind of like it? Because I'm very interested to see like the breweries that backed out. I'm wondering how close, because you always build like a repertoire with your brewery. You find one that you really like, and then you're like, oh man, I got to get there. Yeah. Do you feel like that's also kind of helped you build that that core base that has allowed you to? You spoke on some expansions.
Yeah, it actually it's fascinating because as evidenced by a lot of the beers that we sent you guys, we're not necessarily like a hype brewery, and typically like a hype brewery, those are the ones that have always
that have all the hazies. I'm just showing a couple of the cans.
All the hazies and all the sexy hops.
Yeah. They've all been really successful at like selling beer out their front door when it's like, I'm going to go wait in line and get this special thing that I can't get otherwise. But that was never sort of our shtick. Our shtick is like mostly a lot of like really drinkable everyday kind of beers. And so for us, the home delivery business actually invigorated our package sales. So we, as a result of the pandemic, we sell like way more packaged beer out the front door because I think our target beer customer is much more like consistent, kind of like everyday beer drinker. I think that's who we really resonate with.
So it's interesting how you mentioned you're not a hype brewery, because we just had a brewery open in Orlando called Deadwards, and they have all these classic styles. They even did like a Sati beer out of a clay pot fermenter, and everybody's losing their minds over this brewery because they have these old school European styles. So I actually have a question for you about when you were in Europe, when you were doing like, learning about the beer on your European trip or journey, what surprised you the most with beer over there compared to here in the States?
Well, especially in Germany, like quality was a foregone conclusion. So there was no such thing as like a bad beer. And it was just kind of like, and also like my experience in Scotland was like, man, like those beer drinkers are picky. And so they're drinking excellent beer all day, every day, and they're still being pretty picky about it. And so I think I kind of like, I sort of, Europe really deeply ingrained this sense of like, you're never going to be perfect, but the pursuit of it and trying to make like super true to form, like ultra tight beer has always been a big part of our ethos.
That's actually really interesting.
I like the Scots.
Don't forget your happy hour vitamins.
Oh, I already took mine.
So I know he had mentioned Scotland. That's kind of where this kind of comes from, the the Scotsman on the front. That's really interesting piecing this all together, like the can art and things like that.
Yeah.
Like there's one I'm gonna drink on Geeks tonight in honor of one of our friends that's coming on, like the gnome, because he calls himself the gnome. So I was looking at that and I was like, oh, these are all just it's coming together as you tell this story, and I think it's fascinating about the different can labels and things like that.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of innuendos and a lot of beer geek history dropped into, various homages to classic European breweries. So the gnomes are a reference to Schoof, and yeah. So there's like all sorts of like, we try to. I think our goal is to bring people along, but then we drop in a lot of like real hard nerddom if you look close enough. So.
Well, we've noticed that.
I
Wait
love
till
the
he pops
nerddom.
back in, because I was going to bring in the website. We've actually noticed that through your guys' website. There's a lot of good beer geek info through the website. Is that
Yeah, your
something you guys
blog.
like? You want to? Yeah, your blog and things like that. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Okay, so if you painted a Venn diagram of different types of beer drinkers, our wheelhouse is nerd dad. So
Perfect.
like
Perfect.
all the background, all
Wait
the
a minute.
research, all the history. That's
And
like
nerd moms.
that's and nerd moms definitely. But yeah, that's kind of like who we. That's sort of like that's just. I think we just do it. It's if I were to relate it to music, I think there's a difference of like learning to play music through guitar, and then there's like learning to play music through like reading music like classical sheets, and it's both can produce an excellent result that is totally different. But a lot of like what we do is kind of like taking knowledge from the past and sort of turning it into sort of present day stuff. And so we're kind of like we're finding like what's really fascinating is that if you were to say like that you're going to open a brewery in today's market and produce like a lot of lagers and Belgians, some people might tell you like, oh, well, you're not going to sell that much. But like, I think we're to the contrary, and I think a lot of it's because we take a very like sort of classical approach to it, So.
Well, I think that's a good thing to do these days, because you see a lot of breweries. I mean, I love them. I'm that kind of person that throws cereal in the beer, but a lot of breweries now are doing that, all that crazy stuff with beer, right? And then you guys are like, no, we're just going to take a step back and we're going to kind of do that classical approach. And people forget how good even the classical is, which, it's kind of one of those nostalgia, like, no, you're right. I mean, this beer is good. I just opened up the Glass Castle Pilsner. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I ran because
I think
like,
you
dodged the
ran, yeah.
minefield of my
You were
children out
gone
there.
for 2 seconds.
I like ran out there because my kids, as soon as I opened the door, like, Dad, snack, and I'm like, no, get out of my way.
Don't worry, don't worry, Matt. I get out of breath when I go to the fridge too.
Well, I had to run through like to the garage because the kids were like, Dad, he did it. And anyways, yeah, I'm drinking. It's a balance of golden malt, spicy hops to find this eminently drinkable lager, and it's a 5%. Oh, that's a good summer beer. That's a good like just chill out there. It's nice outside. Like I can mow my lawn, sip on this all day. It's wicked good. If you guys can see the color, delicious, smooth. Here's the can in front of my ugly face.
Nice.
Delicious.
I think we've got. I think Hoppy or Lauren has some beer news. Let's get to the beer news. Let's cover a little bit of beer news, Matt or Brett. We're going to cover a little bit of beer news, and then we'll come back to the conversation here shortly. There's a lot of, obviously, in today's times, as you know it, there's a lot of beer news out
I do
there.
have a couple things.
I was going to say, why don't you let Matt start with the beer news? Because I might be piggybacking on, I know you hate that word, I'm sorry, on one of the things that you're going to be talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let Matt go off with the beer news.
There's two pieces of news. As you guys know, I work with the nonprofit Bottle Share, which is a nonprofit that's centered around the craft beer industry. We help out those who are in need, whether they are beer tenders, whether it's a brewery themselves, brewers. If you're in need, you can apply for grants. And we do a lot of collaboration beers. We just did one that popped open yesterday, totally tubular. Anyways. There is a brewery in Massachusetts about an hour away from where I'm from called Anawan Brewery, Anawan, I should say. And they recently, their brewery burned down, caught fire. Look into them. Go ahead, and if you can donate to their GoFundMe or keep an eye out, we are talking with them tomorrow about how we can assist their individuals at the brewery. And then also another really big one out of Chicago, Twisted Hippo. Their brewery burned down as well just the other day, and we're in the process of setting up what's called a tip jar, which is kind of like, hey, we're gonna, any money that comes through us, we're gonna give right back to them. We're assisting their beer tenders. We're in contact with one of their bartenders right now and the owner. We're gonna get on the call, and we're working on some things right there so we can support them. They do have a GoFundMe out there, but through Bottle Share, we're also gonna go ahead and help out the people who work there, because I mean, a lot of these people, if their place of business, it burns down, they're not getting money, right? And so a lot of them, they don't have the health insurance, they don't have anything to kind of fall back onto or have another job. So what we're doing is assisting them through Bottle Share. So if you're interested in helping out, donate to Bottle Share. Go to thebottleshare.org. And like I said, we're going to be working with two breweries. It's just crazy. Two breweries in two different parts of the country, both burned down within a week of each other. So if you can help out, please do so. And that's what I got. Lauren, what do you got?
So just to follow up on that, because, I was going to mention the Twisted Hippo. So Microphone in Chicago had actually started a GoFundMe. I recommend going through Bottle Share just because I feel like it'll create more awareness for Bottle Share. So when other breweries in the future need Bottle Share, they'll be more aware of it. But Microphone did start a GoFundMe, and the reason I'm mentioning it because Skeleton Key, who we had actually talked about in the past, they had a tornado come through and completely destroy their place. And a lot of people stepped up, donated to them. They actually donated $5,000 to Twisted Hippo. They have not reopened, but they said, we just wanted to pay it forward because so many people came out for us. So I just wanted to mention that to show, one of the amazing things about the craft beer community is they really do not consider each other competition. They really are just there for each other. Now, to put a little sprinkles on top of our beer news and talk about some fun stuff, a chef in Portland, Maine area has released a couple ice creams she made with Allagash beer. And she's been serving it at the actual brewery. And she intends to do more. Both the ice creams she made were actually done with a sour ale. The process does kill the alcohol, but she says, quote, with the cool ship beers and sour ales I have been using, the fruit undertones come forward and marry beautifully with the dairy and the ice cream custard, end quote. And a cool ship beer is like spontaneous fermentation, to where when they don't like add yeast, they just leave it open and let it spontaneously ferment, which Allagash is like known for. So I thought that's pretty cool. If you're in the Allagash area, which hopefully I will be this summer, because that's a bucket list brewery. But I thought that was pretty cool, especially because we've done a beer and ice cream show.
If everything lines up and I'm there the same week as you are, I'm taking you, because Definitive and Allagash are right next to each other.
Oh, Definitive is a must.
I cannot wait to take you and Erica and whoever else joins up to those spots. Anyways.
That's all I have. And back to you, Jay.
Yeah, it's obviously Brett is having some difficulties over there with his internet connection. Hopefully, I think we got him back now. Brett, can you hear us?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome, man. That's part of we cover a little bit of beer news every week, and obviously Matt is pretty involved in Bottle Share and all the great things those guys do with some local tap rooms. So let's continue the conversation. Brett, what do we have to look forward to from Silver Branch? What's kind of the plans? What's the near future looking like? What's the long-term goals for Silver Branch?
Well, I even though we sent you guys a rack of beer, I was hoping that we'd get this in time, but we're getting ready to release a new flagship IPA.
Juicy.
Yeah. So
it's a Kool-Aid Man, it looks like, but a hop.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Our label artist is worried about the trademark, but I think we're okay.
I mean, compared to some other breweries, you guys look fine. Some other breweries aren't even subtle about it.
One thing that we're really looking forward to is the release of that. We're killing our old flagship IPA and we're launching this one. This is kind of what it looks like in the glass.
Ooh, that's got some really good color to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think our whole thing is like, even though we've talked a lot about the Central European and the Belgian stuff, we're like, we're like, you can't put us in a box, man. We want to do it all. And so we're super excited to release this, and I wish I could say more, but lawyers have me held up for the moment. We are currently in talks to expand
To Florida?
a different kind of expansion. So
Oh.
we're not building new. We will be actually going for a lifetime collaboration, if you will, with another existing company.
Oh, the lawyers got him.
they hacked him.
That's it. It's funny because you
They
did
shut
cut
you
out
off.
right as you said it. Was like the lawyers got him now.
Yeah,
That's pretty rad.
yeah, we're excited. We're it's a good buddy of ours, and there's an opportunity where we can help each other out pretty in different ways, and it will allow for a lot more sort of scaling, and we will bring some kind of like fun events and branding to their side. So we're I wish I could say more at this time, but I did the final check before this podcast, and they're like, not quite yet. So we'll have to check in. So when you guys do your news roundup, maybe in a month or two, you can drop.
Well, I mean, as soon
line
as you're
about
able to let us know to drop it, just shoot. You and Aaron have my email. Go ahead and fire it to. We'll go ahead and we'll drop that news hot off the press.
Cool.
Yeah.
You will be the first to find out when we're allowed to go public.
Breaking news, the exclusive. I like it. This is our first.
Even
exclusive.
if you want to come back on, I was gonna say if you want to come back on and break the news when you're allowed, you're welcome to come back on and break the news when you're allowed to. More than
Wait. You got to check our schedule first, man. It's filling up with a lot of late breaking stuff recently.
I bet he's got more good Europe stories, though. I can't imagine
know,
the
right?
European beer stories you got.
A lot. Most of them are pretty wholesome. A few of them are,
We have the E on our podcast.
We do. We rated E.
All right,
For
fair enough.
explicit.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
though.
yeah, so yeah, we're excited. Big year. I don't know. It's I feel very I think for the people that come out on the other side of the pandemic, it's kind of like chaos brings people closer together, including other breweries.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like you forge relationships. I found myself talking to more brewery business owners, just kind of like going back and forth, like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? What are you trying? What's working?
Matt, let's go check in with you, get some parting shots, and what do we have to look forward to?
Oh, he's back. Okay. Well, before we hit Brett back one more time because he had cut out, go ahead and geeks, be on the lookout to our hopsnews.beer, our website next week, because your boy is seeing the Batman on Tuesday, which is 2 days earlier than the most people get. So sucks to suck. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna write a spoiler-free review all on the Batman. This is my most anticipated movie of the year, so I get to see
more than Doctor Strange.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, dude.
Wait a minute.
Really?
Wait a minute.
Oh my.
Wait. Hold on a minute. You guys are getting early release invites?
Not you guys. This is
Not
just
you.
Matt.
You guys, look. Your boy is putting in serious work. All right. I just want you to know right now.
I think it's open to everybody.
I've also I've also hit up Disney. I'm trying to get Galactic Star Cruiser media passes, so to be determined there. But look, if
That's
there's
awesome.
an opportunity out there, I hit up anybody and everybody. I'm trying to get stuff. We get early releases for comic books all the time, so why not?
Yeah, that's true.
And we're on A24's press list, so you know what? Anything is possible in this day and age, as long as I don't get sent to Ukraine first. But
Weesh.
I'm gonna be pissed off if World War III starts before Tuesday because I'm seeing the Batman. And I am so excited.
That'll be just
So
your
mad.
luck.
I
Just
can't
your
believe you're more
luck.
excited than Doctor Strange, though.
Yes,
I mean,
I
come
am
on.
Way more.
We'll
Listen,
save
not
this
all of
argument
us
for the Geek
are.
podcast, but really,
We'll talk about it later. Go ahead. Our most recent episode is actually a Riddler and Catwoman deep dive to get you ready for the Batman. If you don't know who they really are or don't know their comic book origins, go ahead, listen to that. And I guess we're doing Supernatural right after this. So, I mean, I guess listen to that. I don't know. I'm not going to watch 15 seasons of that show, but Lauren does on repeat. So she watches enough of the both
so
of
do
us.
so do the two guests we have joining us.
Yeah. That's
Anyways,
awesome.
There's more to life than Supernatural.
Well, I look forward to hearing about the Batman pre-release.
Yeah, but
And
it's not.
thanks. Shut up, Lauren. Thank you to Brett, and thanks again to Aaron for hooking it up for the beer. The beer is fantastic, and I really can't wait to get out to the brewery, and hopefully, we get to link up and talk further another time.
I've got to get the inside scoop with this Batman issue in the chat because somebody makes it sounds exclusive, the other one not so much.
Listen, they're doing a fan fest event in IMAX on Tuesday, and you know what? The Boise theater is pretty empty because Boise people don't go to movies because they're uncultured out here in Idaho. They'd rather do freedom trucks or whatever the hell they're doing. So your boy is going to be one of like the 3 people in Idaho that get to see this movie early.
No, I want to see the Batman. I think it's good, but it's starting over. It's a whole, they're retconning it again because that's what DC does because they don't know what they're doing. But how can you be more excited about that than about Doctor Strange? Like we thought we heard Xavier on the trailer. Like we saw a dinosaur. It could be Savage Land. Like
I love Marvel, but not all of us are like, oh my god, Marvel is the most. No, come on.
Everybody is.
No.
So Matt already summed up the geeks.
So
Brett,
Lauren, parting shots, and what do we have to look forward to?
Yeah, Matt summed up the geeks well, and we are going to do a Batman trilogy episode coming up too. I just rewatched all the Christian Bale ones, so Dark Knight trilogy. So we're going to have some fun facts, some recaps on that, just for fun because they're great movies. Yes, you said you wanted to do that. I just rewatched all the movies. Maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. We just lost Brett again, but I wanted to make a comment. Anybody who is into beer geekness at all, definitely go check out their website. I just dropped the link for their website and their Instagram in the Facebook chat, but you really can just search Silver Branch. But they have a really cool blog with a lot of beer geek info too, which if you do come back on to make that exclusive announcement, I'd love to hear more about that. You can learn about yeast and all sorts of fun, cool beer geeky stuff. So that's what I got. Marvel's better than DC.
I agree.
Don't even know. Both of you are fake.
Brett,
fake.
Parting shots, and what do we have to look forward to from Silver Branch Brewing in Maryland?
Parting shots. Wow. I'm sorry my internet connection seemed to jump in and out, but I'm really thankful that you guys had me on. And I don't know. I mean, I think if I'm doing everything right, you're just going to start hearing a lot more about Silver Branch over the next year or two. Nice. I think we're on a trajectory that's looking pretty intense. So we're trying to go fast and break things. So
I'd love to see it. You love to see it.
So, but yeah, like thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys having me on today.
It's always good to talk to the brewers entering the market and get kind of their take and how they are positioning themselves. So, again, the website with the food, the menu there in Maryland at Silver Branch, that makes me want to go alone. I mean, tostadas and nachos and tacos.
Munchies.
Open invitation, all of you. Open invitation. Anytime you want to come, just let us know. We'll hook it up. We'd love to have feed you food.
Jay's just hungry, okay? He didn't eat before the stream tonight, apparently.
I care. I mean, the food looked good, but I care more about the beer.
Honestly, the food did look really good. Everything, man. If the food is half as good as this beer, then we are in for a special treat when we get to go there.
Yes.
Cool. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The food is very good.
Awesome. Brett, we definitely appreciate you joining us this evening. As always, you can follow Hops News on all of your podcast platforms and social media at Hops News. Go check out the Feeling Lucky crew. That crew is a damn mess right now. Lucky's down in South Carolina with Big Daddy. I don't know that we'll ever hear from him again. It just sounds like an absolute disaster out there in the Greenville, South Carolina area. But the exciting thing is the Spring Hill, Tennessee event. Matt, what's the date on that?
Oh my goodness. How could I forget? Yes, Spring Hill, Tennessee. So our friends are opening up their brewery, Common Law Brewing, Brad and Mark, on April 1st. It's
Brett,
not
you're
a
invited
joke.
too.
Brett, you are invited. So
All right.
July 16th, the weekend of July 16th, it's shaping up as though the Hops News crew, we have never all of us met together in person. So, fun fact, we've been doing this 2 years now.
Which is kind of crazy.
We haven't all met together in person. Laura and I have met in person. Lauren and Jay have met in person. Jay and Lucky have met in person. Well, we have a Hops News meetup going down in Spring Hill, Tennessee / Nashville the weekend of July 16th. And yeah, we're going to be tearing it up at Common Law Brewing. You know, maybe do a live show, maybe do some sort of content. You never know. But the most important thing is that we all get together after putting in 2 years of hard work and really just get to hang out and be friends. So come out for that. You don't have to be a Patreon member. You don't have to do anything. It's just open invitation. Anybody who listens to the show, anybody who's ever been a part of the show, seriously, come on out. We'd love to share a beer, share some stories, share some laughs, and make some, you know, lifelong connections. And this time it's in person because we're back to in-person things again.
And are we doing a brew day?
Yes.
We are. So that's in the works right now as well. We are looking at doing a brew day
On the
with
21st.
Common Law. What?
Wait,
On the
21st.
21st. Yeah.
21st of what? What?
Or no, sorry about that. The 16th. July
Okay.
16th. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
That
what?
Saturday
Yes, we are
morning
looking
is what
at
we're
doing a
trying
brew
to.
day,
Yeah.
yes.
I was
We
looking
are
at the
looking
wrong event. Yeah. It'll be we don't have the agenda polished right now, but I will tell you the gist of it is Friday evening, a meet and greet at Common Law. Get to town late Friday evening. We'll be there drinking beer. Hope to kick some kegs for Common Law, right? That's the goal, is to really drive their business on Friday, Saturday, and maybe a little bit on Sunday. But Friday, meet there. Sunday or Saturday morning.
My business.
Saturday morning, we're trying to do a brew day with the brewers there at Common Law. So looking forward to that. Maybe some sort of bottle share, right, on Saturday
We're
about
looking at doing a little
noon.
Bottle share event.
And then Saturday afternoon and evening, you'll probably want your happy hour vitamins. I would imagine
Water.
that's
Drink a lot of water.
That will be messy. So looking forward to that. That is going to be a great time there in Common Law in Spring Hill, Tennessee. I will tell you right now, I think initially I told you guys like it's just going to be me because the wife will be at a horse show, but this is like going to be an adults only weekend. So we're
Oh yeah, I'm not bringing the kids.
absolutely looking forward to that weekend for sure.
Them kids are either going to be at the in-laws or they're staying here with Carrie. Hopefully she can come with me. But
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Before that, May 20th through the 22nd here in Virginia Beach, we're going to have a brewery crawl. Looking for a driver, looking for some party bus type of atmosphere. Will be tough, I will tell you right now. But we've got a list of great breweries here in the Virginia Beach area. The Feeling Lucky crew will be in the area that weekend. Look to have a good lineup. It'll be messy. I can promise you. If the Feeling Lucky crew's involved, it is going to be messy. Bring protection. Bring happy hour vitamins. Bring
Been
pressure
married too
washers. Bring pressure washers. Whatever you have. With the Feeling Lucky crew in town,
Bring
it'll
Plan B.
be. Yeah. Yeah. The Feeling Lucky crew might need some of that this weekend. Both those two in Greenville, South Carolina. So, hey, it's been great. Check us out at Hops News anywhere that the podcast platforms are up. I will tell you right now, our podcast, Matt knows this because he stays up to date a lot with the
I'm hip.
yeah. with the data and the downloads, dude, that podcast, the downloads from podcast are ridiculous
like
right now.
$1,200 a month.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and we haven't put much into it yet. But we've had some conversations, hoping to get out there a little bit more, hoping maybe to bring in some more advertisers and ads on our end to increase what it is that we're able to do on our end. So, looking forward to that. Brett, appreciate you, man. The beer was solid. That the strong ale in the shower slapped like no other. Yeah,
Finishing it up now. I can feel it.
Yeah, that slapped like. Oh man,
I know.
I hate it for his internet.
His internet right back though.
Yeah, his internet connection is getting wore out there in the DC area for sure. Brett, appreciate you, man. Appreciate the beer. Looking forward to finding and hopefully seeing some of your stuff on shelves down this way sometime soon. So appreciate you offering up the beer and being a guest this evening.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thank you, man. For real,
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun. You have such a unique, fun story that, hey, hopefully have you on again, man.
But it's
I
great
love
too
it.
because your origin story is like the craft beer of America origin story
Yeah.
too. You went to Europe and fell in love with beer and came back and made beer great again. Oh, that was terrible.
Exactly.
Cut.
Well,
We're out.
I'll have to put that in the. I'll put that into the blog.
There you go.
The origin story.
There you go.
It's true though. It's so true though. I mean, yeah, you went and you enjoyed and appreciated the great beer that Europe has to offer.
Yeah.
And you brought it home.
All right, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a great night, and as always, drink responsibly.
Cheers.
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 And take your vitamins. I might take extra vitamins.
Remember
tonight,
to
'cause I
drink
have
more Ovaltine.
drink more Ovaltine. It's not Christmas anymore. But I have a triple IPA on deck for our
Hey,
next
I'm not
episode.
gonna lie. I've got a colonoscopy scheduled for in the morning, and my doctor
What
told
the
me
hell?
just to take the happy
That's
hour
why you're
vitamins.
so hungry.
Yeah,
What the hell is happening?
just to take the happy hour vitamins. You always have the blood test, right, before you go in for that type of shit.
I wouldn't know.
No pun intended. Yeah, I'm still in my 30s.
Soon, fellas, ladies.
I heard they bumped it up to 50.
When the doctor told me you got to have a clear liquid diet, I'm like, Doc, no fucking problem at all, man. That's my diet.
So that's why you drank the dark ale yesterday.
Brett,
That's-
this is for the
that's-
slimy scene.
That's my diet 6 days a week. I can get down with that. All right, guys. Have a good
Matt,
night.
you got Ian's email?
Stop. I'm trying to do it right.
Good night, y'all.
Good night,
Bye,
Brett.
Brett. Thank you
for
so
joining
much.
us, man. Thank you.
It was awesome meeting you.
Pleasure.
I'm sending the invite.